All right. How's everybody doing? This is Tom Aiken. I'm the success engineer at Boom Life. And welcome to episode 6 of BoomShare. Today we're interviewing Keith Bourkney, an old friend of mine, actually. He's originally from Buffalo, New York, moved to Florida in 2001, and worked several years developing several business campaigns in a contact center environment. In 2012, his career shifted to an employment service helping persons with disabilities, and he's been developing that business ever since. Keith, how you doing, man?
Fantastic. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, doing well. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing and tell us about EmployU?
Certainly. So, EmployU is a nonprofit employment service here in the state of Florida. We work with the Department of Education, Vocational Rehabilitation Division. And what vocational rehabilitation does is it helps people that have a disability, be it mental or physical or whatever, and it's keeping them from either getting a job or keeping a job. And they're able to go to them, get help, some medical help, surgeries or medications or therapy or whatever it is they need. They put them in a plan. And then once they feel like they're employable, they're ready to start working again, they refer them off to a nonprofit employment service, which is what we are. And then from there, basically our job is to get them a job. We do some training with them, we put them through a 40-hour class, and then we basically assign them to one of our employment specialists who are like outside sales reps, and they're in the business of selling people. And they go out and they negotiate or they market, they network with employers and tell them about their customer, call them, and try to find opportunities, find the right managers, which is really, it's a numbers game. You got to do a lot of activity, and more activity we do, the more of the right managers we find who are willing to give them a shot and have a good environment for the person. Like I said, abilities and disabilities are all across the board. Everybody's different. Everybody's got different skill sets, different backgrounds. Our job is really to get to know them, build a relationship with them, and then go out and build relationships in the communities to try to get them out there. That's
So
it.
it's not like a staffing agency model, right? You're more like a kind of like a recruiter, I'd say. Sounds like. Am I just clear on that?
Well, it's called an employment service. So we don't have contracts with anybody. Like a
Okay.
staffing agency is going to go out and they hit the employer, say, you have a need, I'm going to find people for you. We get people and we find out what it is that they're, looking to do. And then basically we're like professional job seekers for them. And we just do that job seeking and that application process, the resume process, and basically we prep them for the interview, by giving them, a lot of practice, and we give them customized answers to commonly asked interview questions, so they can put them on index cards and practice them at home and stuff like that. And like I said, we just we do that whole process that people have to do to go out and get a job. We just do that on a full-time basis, and we assist our customers. So it's a little different than the normal model.
Okay. Okay. So, tell me about the values that are driving you to do this. What about it kind of got you, and what makes you stay doing it?
Yeah. So when I first moved down here to Florida, I got into contact centers, call center, marketing, sales, with with a friend of mine that moved down here from my same high school, which we're still partners and we're still best friends. So it's pretty awesome. And anyway, we opened up businesses, we opened up contact centers, and I was more the one that did the operations side, where I'd find the place that we'd actually operate in, and recruit, hire the people, do all the interviews, do the training, develop it, and to get all the moving parts going, basically get the whole thing going, and then we'd start with another one and start all over again. And tried to count them one time. I think we did like 11 of them over a 10-year span. So it was a lot of business development, a lot of HR, a lot of that side. And it had its up and downs. a bit of a stressful business, and I felt like at a point that it wasn't something I really wanted to do any longer. Wasn't a good fit for me any longer. So I've been looking for things, and the last contact center that we had put together was actually right next to a vocational rehabilitation office. I had no idea what that was. But, one of the guys came over and started talking to me, and he's like, hey, I got some people that could work here, I think, So we set up a program called OJT, on-the-job training, for some of their clients. And, we just had some come in and work. And, some of these people were our best employees. Some of them weren't very good fits, but, not all of them worked. But a lot of them did, But the one thing that I kind of realized is that they had a really big appreciation for the opportunity. They really just felt grateful for having a job or given the opportunity to come in and give it a shot, even if it didn't work out. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then I learned that there was an opportunity to kind of help these people all the time. So I researched it, and the way the state set it up, it is a business. They pay you on different benchmarks. You get paid for getting a job. You get paid for keeping the job for 45 days, and you get paid again for them keeping the job at 90 days. So if you do it right, if you find them the right fits, and you do the process correctly, it's a business. You can make pretty decent money at it too. So that really attracted me at first. So anyway, I put the nonprofit together, which takes about a year and a half. And then once it all was good and ready to go, I had relationships with the councils already because I was hiring some of the people. So I went over and said, all right, I'm ready, and no idea how to do it. But they just started sending me people, and one of the things that they ask you to do is a class for them, 40-hour class. 40 hours, holy cow, how am I going to do that? So I just kind of went on the line and researched that, I've done training for years, and I love training, and I was like, you know what, this is a sales class. So I made it as a sales training class. So I put it, got these guys in the class, and it didn't take me long to really realize that I was creating a relationship with these people. I was getting a bond with them, like they were just interesting people, and they were just feeling really, like I said before, like really grateful for the help that they were receiving. And they don't really receive a whole lot of help from a lot of organizations out there. There's a lot of places that they are set up to give them help, but a lot of times they're just not maybe funded properly, so they have a high retention or a high turnover rate, and plus they're overwhelmed. So the amount of help they can really give is not that high. So we're kind of in a position where we can help these people that have come through the program. And like I said, I spent 40 hours with them, and I got to know them, and I really bonded with them. And then after the class was over, I'm like, all right, so I got to figure out what to do now. So I send out applications, and took this kid around, drove him around to different restaurants, and within a day I got him a job. And I was like, wow. And his mom called me and was like, I can't believe you got him a job. Like, he could never believe it. His brothers couldn't believe it. Everybody was like so happy and so grateful for the help that I gave him. I was like, all right, you know what? There's something more to this. This isn't just a business. This is something that it's like I'm doing good things here. So. For the first 6 months, really, I just kind of did it myself. I recruited my wife, got her on board to help me out, and so I've always told her right from the beginning. She works in the restaurant industry. I'm like, I'm getting you out of that restaurant industry. This is where we're gonna go. So, got her involved, and she's been great. And anyway, I started after about 6 months. I felt all right, it's time to recruit, and I met a guy who's like, yeah, I can help you run your business. I've done that before, So he came on board, and we started recruiting a staff. We got people that really wanted to help. They weren't really qualified, but they wanted to help. So from that, I was able to build a backbone, build the foundation of the company, all of our systems, and I was able to put everything together to a point where we really, got something here, And then it came to a point where, it was starting to kind of outgrow our staff, and, I'd say to my wife, I kind of need somebody to really help grow this company and build it. within a couple days later, I'm at I go to job fairs a lot. I'm at a job fair, and I meet this woman. She's like, well, yeah, I've done this for 20-something years. I've built these programs before. I know how to do this. Yeah, I'd love to do it with you. So she came on board.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's from her. Then she recruited a couple of people that she knew that had a strong background, and we found that the background in behavioral type experience is really important. It's because a lot of people with disabilities, their main disability is insecurity. So you got to really understand that. To say like when you think of a disability, it's kind of hard to really fathom what it really takes. But if you think of like a pimple on your forehead, you don't even really want to go outside. You feel really insecure. You feel like everybody's looking at it. Well, magnify that times 100, and have that from the start of birth, and have everybody, your friends and family, tell you that you can't do anything because of it. And then that's, maybe it gives you a better sense of the magnitude of insecurity. So, to be able to deal with that, it helps to have some type of background in it. But so anyway, from there, a couple of the people that were with us in the beginning kind of stepped up, and the one woman's with us still now, and she's awesome. But then, every time we had a need for something, it's like all of a sudden somebody popped into that place. It wasn't real difficult for me to find the right people. The right people kept on coming at me saying, I want to get involved. I have tons of experience in that, and I can do this job. And I'm like, it's been weird. I'm like, all right, I need somebody to help me in marketing. And all of a sudden, somebody awesome in marketing starts helping me. It's been really a strange ride. And it's kind of come to a point where I'm starting to realize that it's like beyond me. It's not like I did build this, but I'm more of like just the driver. Like this. I don't know. It's almost like this whole thing was kind of meant to be, and I was, everything I've done up to now has brought me to this point where I can do it, and everybody's kind of given to me right when I need it to make this work. I can't help but think that this is something really big. And everywhere we go, one of the values that I keep in place is that we're going to be the best. We're going to be the best company in this industry, in this state. And I've held that value strong with all of our people, and that's word is starting to get out. We're getting that reputation, and everywhere we go to new territories, they're like, we've heard of you guys. You guys are really good. We're happy you're here. And that's a great feeling. It gives you the chills when you go to these places and they say that to you. So, I've, like I said, really started, always kept it as, we're going to be the best company. I say it over and over. We're always going to be improving. We're always going to get better. And from that, and I think because we're doing good things, good things are happening, and it's just everything's just made easier. The call center industry is very cutthroat. Everybody's, behind your back, and there's a lot of that going on, and this is not like that at all. Everybody wants to help you. It's really weird. It's really strange, but I love it. And I'm passionate.
That's an awesome thing. I think it's incredible how as you said, things just keep kind of not really falling in your lap, because I'm sure it's been a challenge throughout, but at the same time, when you recognize a need for something, it's there, and the right person shows up, they knock on your door, you meet them at a conference, and I think that like you said, you start to get this message that this is what I'm meant to do. This is important to me. And I can't even imagine that feeling of helping someone, like when you're describing the kind of anxiousness a person feels, multiplied by 100 of me having a zit on my forehead. I can't even imagine how it feels when you help somebody, when someone's mom who never thought they'd ever be able to get hired is saying, oh my gosh, you surprised us. It's just got to be the greatest feeling in the world.
It is, man. It is. I mean, it is. It's happening constantly. Like I said, for one, they're really not. They've never had this type of help before. We're able to really get involved and build a relationship with them, get to know them. We get to know all kinds of things about them, and we make their friends. And when things go wrong, it's hard. It's hard. We get kind of teary eyed sometimes. We're like, oh my god, that's terrible. I feel so bad for them. But when things go right and they get a job, man, it is a great feeling.
How so now what's a typical week for you? Are you is there a set schedule where you're doing your class and then you're taking them out, or do you have people doing some of these things in parallel? How does the operation work?
Yeah, we got 5 people right now. It's what's called employment specialists, and they have different areas. And it's in the last, I mean, every week is whirlwind, But I mean, the last even 3 to 6 months, I mean, we've expanded our territory like crazy. And we now cover. I mean, we're in Orlando right now, so we're right in the middle of the state. We cover areas going over 2 hours south. We cover areas going an hour and a half east, and we covered areas going almost 2 hours north. So, we've got a pretty big span right now. And the main reason we're doing that is that, everywhere we go, all the areas, there's vocational rehabilitation offices throughout the state, So we can work wherever they are. They can refer people to us. We just have to say, we want to work this area, and then we go in and present, and then we say, okay, we can take your people now. And then it's up to them, it's up to the counselors if they want to give us people. So, but every time we go to a new office, they're like, we need this help so bad. It's like there's a really low supply and a really high demand of what we do. So one of the great things about this for me personally in the beginning was that, my dog is making noises. But in the beginning is like, I've been wanting, my son lives in Jacksonville, unfortunately, with his mother, which is 3 hours away from us down in Orlando. And, it was, the last business that I was in, it wasn't going so hot for us for quite a while, so we couldn't really move, didn't have anything. When I started getting into this, I started realizing, man, I'm like, this is my way, going up to Jacksonville. So I've been on kind of a mission, so we've moved now an hour and a half north. We're halfway there. So by next year, we'll have offices up in Jacksonville, and we'll be able to work that area. And just to, put icing on the cake, I had a meeting with somebody just a couple weeks ago that knows that area, and they're like, we need you guys in Jacksonville. Jacksonville's, got hardly any companies working for them up there, and they need you. So, it's like, everything's so meant to be. It's crazy, But I can't tell you what my week is like. It is completely different week to week. Today I was out in Melbourne, that's on the East Coast. I was also down in Kissimmee today, and then we're planning a new class coming up in the next couple of weeks. And I just recruited 2 new people. We got a marketing program we're building. We got crazy stuff that we're building. It's nuts. So it's fast-paced.
How many people generally attend your 40-hour class at any given time? Is there a typical number?
Not really. There are people that are referred to us from vocal rehab. So we try to get about 3 people at minimum. But they've been up to like 8 or so.
Okay.
In a class. And also one of the things that's also on our plate or on our on our mission here on our agenda is that we don't have to just work with vocational rehabilitation. We're a nonprofit employment service. We can provide classes. We can provide employment service for whoever out there needs it. So we're also pursuing homeless, troubled teens, convicts, VA, and any other type of organization that could use this. We've just kind of gotten our start with vocal rehab. So we're out there talking to different organizations out there too, seeing what the need is.
Well, I'm all for helping out veterans, so.
Yeah. You're a veteran yourself there.
That's right. Well, you answered all the questions I was going to ask you just by telling your awesome story. So, what's next? You even answered that one, so I don't even. Next is Jacksonville.
It is.
So, what do you need? What do you need? How can people help? People who are watching this, what can we What can we do to help?
What can we do to help? Well, I mean, for one, awareness is something that is absolutely needed. When we go to businesses, majority of the time they've never heard of anything like it. It's rare that they go, oh yeah, we know about it. So, when we meet a manager, we tell them that we work with people with disabilities. And we have a pitch that tries to, let them know that there's all kinds of a range of abilities and backgrounds that these people have. But the main thing is people really kind of picture in their mind is a wheelchair when you think of disability. That's what we're kind of tuned to do that. You see a handicap sign that has a wheelchair on it. So most managers are kind of like, I don't know, is this going to make my life easier or more difficult? Because it's already hard. So if they want to make their life easier, so it's 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 a lot of times it's us trying to open their minds a bit. So definitely, some exposure, getting people to kind of understand that you know, there's people with disabilities are a pretty large untapped workforce, and they have this appreciation that is like no other. Like I said, when I was in the call center world, a lot of the people I was hiring had this feeling that they were owed something, or it was more of like, what are you going to do for me, you know? And we had people, and it's kind of hard. It's frustrating, but we had people from these guys in these both rehab centers that came and worked for us that maybe weren't always the best employee, but I can tell you there was one guy that worked there mainly because he came in and you asked him how he was doing. And he's like, today is the best day of my life. He's like, look at me. I'm working, I'm moving ahead. He was actually homeless when we brought him on. And he told us that, he told me, like, Keith, you saved my life. Like, I got an apartment now, I got a car. He just, the appreciation is crazy, So for people just to give an opportunity, they're gonna get a lot of the time they're gonna get somebody that is just gonna be, really grateful for their job. They're gonna be there on time every day. They're gonna do their best. They may not always be the best employee in the beginning, but they're gonna, you know, with the right manager and the right training, they can do it. And that's another thing that we supply too is our selling point to employers is that if we need to, we'll put a job coach on there too. And a lot of times we do. Where a job coach goes with the customer and goes through the training. And our selling point is that your trainer's not going to have to spend extra time with this person. So a lot we work with people with Asperger's and autism and all kinds of mental disabilities that they just learn in a different way. So if a trainer doesn't know how to teach somebody like that, and they teach the class their normal way, it's going to be like a different language. So what we do is we go on, we learn the job that they're teaching and how they want it to be done, and then we're trained to teach our person that. That's kind of one of our selling points. So when you work with a company like us, there's less risk. And if it doesn't work out, we'll be the first ones to know, and we'll say, hey, thanks for trying. But this wasn't a match. But most of the time, we've done our research enough where we know that they can do this. And with the proper help, comes to success. So, I mean,
That's great. It's amazing. EmployU is, I don't know, it's a breath of fresh air if you ask me. It sounds like there's a lot of people down in Florida in your area that are just thankful your guys are around on both sides of the equation, employers and folks who are looking to be employed. How can people get in touch with you, Keith?
We do have a website, www.employu.org. It's EMPLOY and then the letter U.org. That's probably the best way to go. My personal cell phone, personal email address, and everything's on there. So, and all of our locations are listed on there too.
All right. Well, thanks so much for sharing your story. I hope it touches someone out there because it certainly gets me excited. This is the second time I heard it due to our technical difficulties the first time. But both times you got me really excited about what you're doing, Keith. And so I appreciate that you took a few minutes out of your life to come on and do the interview. And anything you wanted to leave the audience with before we close this one down?
Well, I appreciate what you're doing, man. It's pretty. I mean, you got people coming on like us, able to tell their stories, which, I mean, that's the thing that we're passionate about. Entrepreneurs running a business, and we love talking about that stuff. But it's also cool, listening to the other people's stories too. So I appreciate what you're doing. Can't wait for the book. What was the book called again?
The book is called Finding Success, Get What You Really Want, and it just went to the printer this week. So about 8 weeks from now, we're going to be releasing it, and folks are able to buy it right now. If anyone is interested in pre-sales, we're discounting and making sure anyone who buys a pre-release book also gets a signed copy. So we'll be ready and set up when the books come in to ship them out right away, taking $5 off the price. And I personally can't wait. It's been a 2-year project, and super excited about it. So thanks for asking about that. You gave me a chance to pitch my book.
Very impressive, Boomer. Very impressive. I hope the waiting list isn't too long.
Well, I don't think it'll be too long, but we'll see. I'll do my best to make it long.
Cool.
All right, Keith. Well, thanks again. Have a great night, and we'll talk soon.
All right, brother. Thanks. Have a good night.
All right.